What's going on, you guys? Somerdale Piso back once again with another video. As we seen from the title, we already know that this episode is going to be another Twilight Zone episode analyses, right? So, like, comment, subscribe. We're going to get right into it. Today, the episode that we're going to analyze is another favorite of mine, right? Another good episode that's on my list of top Twilight Zone episodes ever. Name of this episode is called A Stop at Willoughby. Unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate episode. So let's get right into the synopsis, right? And then, of course, we're going to analyze the episode based on my opinions and whatnot and make some connections. So the episode starts. We have the main character, the protagonist. His name is Garth Brooks. He's a man in his 30s, but the actor doesn't really do his age justice, but that's not even important. It's a man that is a high-powered advertising executive. We start with him in a meeting on a huge table. The boss comes in, right? And then just gives him all of this lip, all of this aggressive talk, like, let's go, Garth, we gotta push. We gotta push everything down the line. Push. Why isn't that account doing well? The guy that's supposed to handle the account, fire him because he's not doing it well. You're supposed to do all this work, Garth. Come on. Garth, of course, he's just saying, yes, boss, absolutely, I'll get it done. I don't know why that guy moved slow in reference to the account, but we're gonna get that fixed. Don't you worry, sir. He leaves. His secretary tells him something. He goes into his office, and then he's just, sort of grabbing his head in bewilderment. And of course, we can sort of deduce that he doesn't have the best feelings about his job. I mean, it seems like he just has a sort of toxic-ish boss. Overall, he just doesn't enjoy it. Maybe he's worked in that business for a very long time, and he has been handling this very, very direct, blunt nature from his boss for that whole length of time. He goes on the train and he falls asleep, and then he wakes up and of course it's raining. I think it's snowing outside when he went to go to sleep on the train. It's snowing outside. He goes to sleep on the train, and then he wakes up, and then suddenly it's incredibly sunny. He looks around, and the train car seems way less modern than it was when he got on the train. Conductor comes by, one of the train employees, I don't know what you call them, the ticket punchers. Garth asks him, hey, where am I? What stop is this? And he said, this is Willoughby. And then he's like, Willoughby? What is this stop? What is this station? I never even heard of it. It's Willoughby, sir. And then he carries on, the train employee, the ticket puncher, carries on with telling the rest of the people on the train that this is the Willoughby stop. Garth doesn't really get up, but he turns around. I don't remember the episode exactly, but I'm giving you the general summary of it. I guess he keeps saying Willoughby, and then he wakes up. Apparently, Willoughby was a place in his dreams. It was some sort of fantasy. The conductor comes up to him and says, listen, Mr. Brooks, you were shouting out in your sleep, Willoughby. And Garth was like, hey, listen, was there ever a station called Willoughby in the past, or does this train line ever go to a station called Willoughby? The ticket puncher, of course, this is the one in present day. He's like, you know what? I'm not very sure, and I've ridden this train a million times. But listen, I'll get that information to you right away. So, Mr. Brooks, Garth gets home, and he is presented with his wife, right, by his wife. He's like, listen, why didn't you call? I was worried sick about you. And then, he was sort of explaining, I was a little held up at the office, all that stuff. The boss is always, pushing stuff down the line. And then he tries to express himself to his wife. Hey, darling, there was this dream I had. It was this place called Willoughby outside. It was incredibly sunny. There were kids very, very happy with straw hats. All these like classic toys that you'd find, I guess, in the 20s and 30s or whatnot, right? That kids would play with. Man, I'd love to go there. It's a place where a man can live his life full measure. I remember that quote exactly. So his wife is like this, listen, it's so funny because every day I think I married the wrong guy because he just doesn't have the appetite, right, to do what needs to be done. You wouldn't have even stayed in that job if it wasn't for me, right? And it's crazy because I stayed so long with this person, she's talking about him now, and his dream of the future is to retire to a place where he can live his life like Huckleberry Finn. And then she walks away. And then he's like, I guess he doesn't really worry about it, but he's just thinking about Willoughby because this place seemed like some sort of paradise to him. The episode continues. He's going back and forth to work. He's coming back from work, and then he's having these dreams of Willoughby. I think the next couple dreams that he has of Willoughby every time he goes to sleep on the train, he gets up and then walks around the train car and then looks out into Willoughby. And you just see kids waving back at him, the adults looking at him as well, waving. Everyone's very, very nice and open, which seems like a very stark contrast to Garth's waking life, where his wife doesn't really respect him, his boss doesn't really respect him, and his acquaintances just sort of pity him, right? So he's at work, and his boss is just giving him all of this slack. He's like, why didn't you do this? We talked about this in the other meeting, and you said you were gonna get it done, and it has not been done yet. And then we have this coming down and the line, and you still have not even looked at it yet. I always think that I hired the wrong guy for this job. Oh my goodness, you are the worst advertising executive, right? And then Garth just comes out of nowhere. It's like all this pent up tension and aggression that he had toward his boss for the myriad years that he worked for him. He said, shut up. Boss was completely taken aback because, of course, he's used to acting one way, right, to an employee, which is a one-way aggression, and the employee's not really being able to talk back because their jobs are on the line. They all know that. That's how, work works in this society as well. I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. Garth instantly exits the room, and then he's like, I got to get out of here. I'm quitting my job. So he leaves the office, he goes on the train, and then he tells himself before he dreams, listen, I have a problem with my wife, I have a problem with my boss and my work. Next time I have a dream about Willoughby, I'm gonna just go, right? We're gonna get off the train this time. He goes to sleep, dreams, he's back at Willoughby, right? He's back in the old train car, the classic train car with the classic window designs, everything. The ticket puncher that he met in the last couple times that he's dreamed about this place, says, he goes up to him, sir, is this Willoughby? This is Willoughby, yes. Oh, thank goodness. All right, I'm gonna get out. Enjoy yourself at Willoughby. So Garth then gets off the train. He's looking around, talking to people. I think a kid gives him a straw hat, starts running around. All the adults are waving at him, and then suddenly Garth is just completely happy. He's in complete euphoria. The music is very, very cheerful, by the way. The music is very upbeat, bright. Then the music is slowing down. Garth looks around, right? And then the camera focuses on some object. And then suddenly we're transitioned back to the real world. The present day ticket puncher just says to the police, listen, I don't know what he was doing. The train was moving at full speed, and he's just muttering something about Willoughby and jumped off the train. We find out that in this tragic ending that Garth believed that he was at Willoughby, right? And he was sleepwalking and jumped off the train, and he immediately died. Of course, the episode ends with a chilling monologue of Rod Serling describing that Willoughby is not necessarily a place, right? That's physical, right? Or is it? Maybe it's something within the confines of our minds, a fantasy that we all would like to go to and experience. Garth Brooks found out the hard way, and he ends the monologue. So let's connect this, right, to what we know. This episode is a very, very tragic tale, right? Tragic Kafkan tale, right? Where Garth Brooks was born in a world, right? A modern world that he understood and played by the rules, but he just really couldn't stay on top of everything. His boss was giving him a hard time, and his wife was never satisfied. His wife represents the modern woman, right? Who latches themselves onto very successful men, almost like like Lady Macbeths. Almost, they latch themselves onto very successful men, and then prod them to go past their limits, to obtain things for them, obtain material goods for them at the expense of their mental health, at the expense of their physical health, and at the expense of their emotions, of their emotional health. Garth was an unfortunate victim of this time, of circumstance. He tried his best to stay on top of work because this is what he was told. Right? The world told him, his parents told him, inadvertently, the people in his life that were successful told him that this is success. You have to go to an office, clock in, try to impress everyone there, try to get a woman, even if she's completely ravenous in the way that she covets material goods and physical accumulation of goods, of wealth. That doesn't matter, because the whole point of man is to be married. It doesn't matter how the woman is, right? How destructive she is to the character, right? To the man. This is very, very chilling, because in this modern world, a lot of men live their lives like this, lives of quiet desperation, just like our poor friend Gregor Samsa. Oops, sorry, don't want to make another Franz Kafka reference, but our friend Garth Brooks. This guy really lived his life. He went to college, tried to find the girl, and he did find a girl, or the girl found him because she found the potential in him. This is very indicative of the times, right? It's the same in New York City. It's going to be the same in Western Europe. It's going to be the same in Australia. We have the modern woman whose appetite is ravenous. They only are in relationships because there is material gain. The thing about men, which is why, we're going to connect it to semen retention. Men have semen retention because that is the practice by which we could commit penance, right, for all the sins that we've committed up to that point, right, up to the point of starting to practice semen retention. We could reconcile with things and learn control in this world based on whatever impetus that inclined the men to start the practice in the first place. Women don't have an impetus. Like I said in my previous videos, there is no impetus to start a journey of change, to start a journey of metamorphosis, yet another Franz Kafka reference, because that's the name of the book. Women seldom believe in love. They believe in the accumulation of material goods. Garth was a victim of that. He was a man that followed the rules, and of course followed the rules with his heart. And he paid dearly for it. The stress of the void-like appetite, right? The void deep appetite, the subterraneous appetite of his wife, the consistent nagging and aggression and push, right, from his boss to get things done perpetually, led him to a world of stress and led his subconscious to create this fantasy, this Xanadu. Willoughby, as we realize, as we could easily deduce, it never existed. It doesn't exist as a physical place. What it is a confine of the mind. It is a castle. It is the Xanadu, right, of everything good. It's almost like paradise, where a man could live his life full measure, as quoted by our dear late Garth Brooks. It is a place where a man can be free from the nagging of the modern world, where there are no rules that a man has to follow and abide by. There is no social contract that they need to obey, which is, letting people sit down, if they're pregnant, having to respect people that disrespect you just because this is just the right thing to do. It's all part of the social contract, the unspoken social contract that we're given here when we come to this world. We have to have a wife, or else you will not be socially accepted. You have to have a group of friends, or else you're going to be continuously marginalized by other people, because no one wants to hang out with an individual that's an individual. That is the long, the tall, the short of it. All of those rules don't apply to this Xanadu, this fantasia that is Willoughby. And Garth sought to escape there consistently, to escape the stress of his world, of his physical reality. He tried too much. He identified with it at the expense of his own life. Gentlemen, what we can learn from Garth, right, is that we need to now do an appraisal of our social lives. Do we lead lives of quiet desperation, where we are consistently going to work, coming back without smiling, without trying to connect with the individuals that you happen to travel with to and from work, or just, when you go to your coffee shops, or when you go to your restaurants, Are you not enjoying your lives, the mundane parts of your lives? You need to do an appraisal and an inspection of that. Number two, of course, I always promote semen retention, and I am against relationships, of course, modern relationships, because like I said before, there is no impetus for the modern woman to behave and to adore you, because they just have way more supremacy than they ever have. And of course, the hypergamous nature natural in women will constantly take effect. You need to inspect, is there an individual woman in your lives, right, that you are consistently trying to please at the expense of your own health and of course at the expense of your social life, lest you leave her and, you know, whether you have a strike of conscience. If these are situations in your life, if these are consistent factors and variables in your life, you need to escape. There is no fear. There should be no fear in jumping into the unknown of being an individual in this modern world. Granted, there are a lot of modern men that are alone because maybe they're just not, they don't have friends, or just women, of course, with their hypergamous nature, are just not valuing those men because they want more. They always want more. More, of course, of the physical reality, physical goods. Purses, more money, seemingly fancy social life. Granted, there might be a prevalence of that in this world, but listen, Garth Brooks was a victim of someone that played the trumpet of following the rules of the modern world, and look where that got him. 6 feet under, and his last thoughts was this world of reverie to escape the physical reality and the inferno that he was consistently living in. Gentlemen, stay on semen retention, be celibate, save your essence, and learn to identify the variables in your life that is causing you physical and mental distress and stress, emotional stress. Understand these things and isolate these things. Do not be afraid to walk alone. It is better to walk alone than to be in the house of a contentious woman or a group of individuals that seek not to understand you deeply. And with that being said, that is all I have to say today. If you like that content, like, comment, subscribe. Share the video with some peers. Don't ever let this world get you down, because the thing is, the world operates by a whole plethora of unspoken rules that we all sort of are conditioned by in order to escape that natural state of being alone and understanding of yourself. We all must understand ourselves. We all must meet the moment of truth, according to DJ Guru, or the sample of that song in that Gangstar song. We all will be tested. So it is better to understand yourself and face those tests now than to be lulled by the alleged comfort of social groups and marriage of the physical reality and lose yourself at the end. And stay radiant, my friends. I'm going to see you guys in the next video. Woo!